Have you ever noticed how paying more for something can actually make you enjoy it more? It sounds kind of weird, right? But the price of an experience, it can totally change how we feel about it. Well, today we're going to dive into this fascinating story about the economics of history and how one little conversation really changed everything. So let's start with a big question. How much is history actually worth? I mean, it seems like a simple question, but the answer is incredibly complicated, especially for all those historical societies and local museums that work so hard to preserve our stories. How in the world do you put a price tag on a tour or an exhibit or that feeling of connecting with the cast? It's a real puzzle. Okay, so this is the quote that really kicked things off. It's from Elaine Hayes, who's the director of the Mount Gullion Society. And think about it. If we don't charge, visitors may feel they're not receiving real value. That's a totally counterintuitive idea, isn't it? The thought that making something free could actually make it feel, well, cheap in a visitor's mind. This was a huge aha moment. And that one little thought, it suddenly revealed a much bigger puzzle. Because when they took a quick look around at other historical sites in the area, they realized their pricing strategies were, and I mean this, all over the map. It was like a fascinating real world economics experiment was happening right in their backyard. Just take a look at this. You got Mount Gillian sitting there with a pretty premium $15 flat fee. Then you have Wappingers, which uses a tiered system, 10 bucks, 7, 5. Fishko, they just operate on donations. And then there's the Pauling Historical Society, charging a pretty modest $5. I mean, four places, all pretty close to each other, with four completely different ideas about money. And this chart just lays out the difference so clearly. A visitor could go to one place and pay 15 bucks, then drive, 10 minutes down the road and pay just $5 for a similar kind of experience. So the really crucial question here is, what message are these different prices sending? What kind of expectation does a $15 ticket create versus a $5 one? And that question, well, it takes us from the what of this pricing puzzle straight into the why. Because this isn't just about covering the bills, it's really about the psychology of an admission ticket and that powerful, almost invisible connection between price and how we perceive value. This right here, this gets to the absolute heart of it. That admission fee, it's not just a transaction. It is the very first piece of communication a visitor gets from you. It sets the stage, it manages their expectations, and it starts telling the story of the experience before they even walk through the front door. The key concept we're talking about is called perceived value. And this has nothing to do with the actual cost of keeping the lights on at the museum. Nope. This is all about the visitor's internal calculation, what their gut tells them the experience is worth. A higher price can signal, hey, this is a premium, high quality, can't miss event. But a really low price or even free admission can sometimes accidentally signal the exact opposite, that maybe it's not really worth their time. So once they had this new understanding of perceived value, the whole conversation shifted. It went from just identifying the problem to actually trying to find a solution. Let's take a look at how one of these places, the Powing Historical Society, decided to take this theory and put it into practice. They came up with this really clear three-step plan. First, a modest increase, right, from $5 to 7. Not a huge leap, but it's enough to signal a change. Second, and this part is absolutely critical, they tied that price hike directly to a real tangible improvement, a brand new high quality George Washington exhibit. And third, they set a long term vision to eventually get their price in line with the true value they provide, maybe even reaching that $15 mark someday. And that, right there, is really the main takeaway. The goal isn't just to charge as much as you can get away with. The goal is to make the price an honest reflection of the rich, valuable, and meaningful experience that your visitors are getting. It's about creating this harmony between what people pay and what they get in return. So I'll leave you with this question to kind of chew on. We've all been offered something for free, right? A free seminar, a free sample, a free tour. Just think for a second about a time when that free offer actually made you a little suspicious about the quality. It's a powerful reminder that in the economics of experience, price is never, ever just a number. It's a story.